Good afternoon. I'm Lynn Flynn, a member of the Nonpartisan League of Women Voters of Lexington, and I'll be serving as moderator for this forum for candidates for Lexington Fayette Urban County Council District 2. This forum will be available later by going to the League website, which is lwvlexington.com. We have two candidates for this election. They are Shayla Lynch and Josh McCurn. We're following the League of Women Voters policies and procedures for the forum. In order to give the candidates a fair chance to be heard, we've randomly drawn using random.org for the order of opening remarks and questions, and then we drew a second time for the order of closing remarks. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to introduce themselves and 60 seconds to respond to each question. The questions have been created by the sponsors, and we've also taken questions from the public. Finally, we'll give each candidate 60 seconds for closing remarks. We'll use the second drawing for the order of the closing comments. So we're ready now to begin with the opening comments, and the candidates will go in the order of the first connection, or I'm sorry, of the first drawing. So we'll begin with Ms. Lynch. Would you like to go ahead with your opening remarks, please?
Sure, and thank you so much. Thank you to the League for hosting this forum. It's just a pleasure to get the invitation and to participate on this Zoom call and this forum today. My name is Shayla Lynch, and I'm running for the 2nd District City Council seat. I'm running because I believe in service, advocacy, and partnership, and those are not just words on my campaign literature or my billboard, but they're ideals my parents instilled. My younger brother and I, when we were growing up in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I have loved serving this community for over 17 years. When I first moved here in 2005, I was here less than a month before I joined the Lexington Urban League Young Professionals and started to give back to community that I was just moving to. And since then, I've been able to serve in various capacities in this community, whether it's tutoring at William Wells Brown Elementary School like I did today, or being appointed by 2 different mayors to serve the community in various capacities. I've loved that work, and I've been able to advocate for my neighbors with doing that community work. And I look forward to partnering with my neighbors when I'm elected to City Council to continue to work in the community so that everyone in our district can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCurn.
Thank you. And first off, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters of Lexington for this forum today, and all of our viewers for partaking in this as well. I'm Josh McCurn, and I am the current incumbent for the 2nd District Council. And for the past 4 years, I've had the honor and the privilege of serving as the council member for the 2nd District. I'm running for re-election because I believe in working for this community and being embedded in our neighborhoods, working with each neighbor to make their priorities mine and advocate for them at the table in City Council. For the past 4 years, I have done so. I've been a voice of reason, understanding, and representation for all of our neighborhoods. I attend our neighborhood meetings frequently. I go to the ones that are monthly, quarterly, and annually. As a father of 2, I look forward to representing the future for our city and for my children, and being an advocate for making this a safe and brighter community for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCurn. And you'll be taking the first question. And here it is. What do you see as the single most important issue facing your council district, and what's your plan to address the issue? Mr. McCurn.
Thank you. Great question. Public safety is something that we are seeing as a concern all across our city. And it's not just how we police in our neighborhoods and our police department being the concern that people commonly want to make public safety out to be, but it's how are we addressing our community coming together and understanding one another. Something I've done since coming in office is break down walls that we've built up, work with our community to host more events, to understand our neighbors, and to work to be mentors for all of our kids in our neighborhoods and the surrounding communities. I believe that public safety is supporting seeing our officers come back to full strength on our police departments, seeing that they are fully supported on our city council. 60 seconds went by quick.
Thank you. It does. It does. Ms. Lynch, same question.
Thank you. One issue that I've been hearing a lot as I've been talking to my neighbors, as I've been meeting them and knocking doors since I began my campaign this summer, is that the rapid growth we're seeing, it's a blessing and a curse. But unfortunately, our commercial and retail supports have not kept up with our rapid residential growth. So I can't count how many times I've heard my neighbors say, we need another grocery store. We need, more shopping options here in this district. And many of my neighbors have uplifted that they feel like they're living in a community, that if they have to meet their needs, they have to get in their car and drive elsewhere or get on the bus. And so I want to be able to work and partner with several organizations in our community so that we can get the commercial industries here, get another grocery store here in this district that will be able to support all of our neighbors in the district, because we are a very large district and rapidly growing. And so I want to make sure that all my neighbors can meet their needs right here in the 2nd District.
Thank you very much. And our second question, we're going to talk a little more about public safety. We're all aware that Lexington has experienced a shocking increase in gun violence. What's the first step that you would take to stop this trend? And Ms. Lynch, that would be you starting.
I think that right now we're working in a space where we're being reactionary, and we're also doing some preventative work as well. So we're kind of working at both ends of the spectrum at the same time. So it can kind of feel like we're not making the progress that we need to. I think that we need to do several different things in order to stave off the crime. Getting to the root of it is one way, and there are many different reasons for the cause of someone deciding to do a criminal act. And it could be poverty, it could be lack of a job, it could be lack of access to mental health issues, it could be lack of enough after school programs for our youth. There are a number of things, and I think we have to work to get at the root of those problems. And at the same time, as we're doing that root work, addressing what's happening right now, I think partnering with some phenomenal nonprofits in this community that are already doing that work, and working with our wonderful One Lexington department and increasing and growing that staff so that it can truly adequately meet the needs of this city will be great.
Thank you. Mr. McCurn.
Thank you. First off, I believe that it's addressing the issue and recognizing that we do have one, not sweeping it under the rug and saying that we don't. And we do have something that is in front of us right now that is a growing concern. Addressing it is working with our youth, creating programs that address how we mentor our children after school programs and providing out those opportunities to them. And then is also our summer youth job program, making sure that is fully funded for our future and continuing to move so in the next few summers. Our partnerships, something I'm proud of is the partnerships that I've created, not just with our neighborhoods, but with our nonprofits, and bringing those resources into our neighborhoods at our events, making sure our neighbors know that their neighborhood is filled with love and good, not violence, and addressing that we are all here to work as one community and create that unity together.
Thank you. And Mr. McCurn, you'll take this question next. We're going to continue a little bit on the theme of public safety. Over half of the city's budget's general fund is allocated to public safety, yet those needs are different in each district. How would you address the specific public safety needs of your district while ensuring that those services are responsive to and effective for the community as a whole?
Thank you. Good question. And I appreciate that this is being brought up because public safety is not just, again, our police. It is also our fire department, it's our corrections, it's our E911. And it's addressing that even though half of our budget goes towards our police department, our public safety department, but it's also seeing that more money is allocated to seeing our officers come back to full strength. We have neighborhood resource officers that we are running short on right now that do excellent work in each one of our community. They go out to our neighborhood meetings, they come out to these events that we've been talking about, and they help partner. So the community knows who to contact when they have an issue, who to contact when they don't feel comfortable reaching out to 911, putting their name behind something. So this is a way of breaking down those barriers, but is also working to see that everything else in public safety is brought up to speed as well. So our fire departments, expanding on the fire departments in our district. We had one come online 4 years ago, and seeing that it's meeting those growing needs of our community and addressing where they're going to go.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch.
Do you mind to repeat the question, please?
I'll be happy to. It's a long one.
Thank you.
Over half of the city budget's general fund is allocated to public safety, yet those needs are different in each district. How will you address the specific public safety needs of your district while ensuring that the services are responsive to and effective for the community as a whole? So just focusing in on your district.
Thank you. So I think first we have to recognize that there are various and diverse needs of the second district when it comes to public safety. And so first, I will definitely build relationships with each of our neighborhoods in our second district. When I've kind of really already started doing that as I've been going out and meeting my neighbors, as I've been canvassing and speaking with them, and really hearing what their needs are, and then bringing those to the attention of city leaders as well as our law enforcement partners, and making sure that they are adequately addressed. I think it's important to restore not only confidence in that relationship with our law enforcement, but make sure that it's transparent, because we have some relationship building to do. We really, really do in the second district. And so I think making sure that we build those strong relationships with law enforcement and our other public safety partners will go a long way in making sure that our neighbors have confidence and are comfortable in talking with our law enforcement so that needs can be appropriately addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll take the next question first. We're switching gears to talk about affordable housing.
Mhm.
Lexington faces challenges across districts with regard to housing affordability. What is the city's role in addressing affordable housing, and how would you recommend prioritizing policy change to address these challenges?
Affordable housing is my passion. I did it for 15 years, and I see that we're at a crisis. We're past the crisis point actually here in Lexington. I think one great step in the right direction would be doing some active implementation of the Commission on Racial Justice and Equality's recommendations when it comes to housing and our housing gentrification here in Lexington. We propose many great recommendations around affordable housing that will help us build a better Lexington for everyone. I also think that making sure that we have a dedicated funding stream for our Affordable Housing Trust Fund will go a long way in making sure that we have an adequate supply of affordable housing. Because I want everyone that wants to live in Lexington to be able to live here. I don't want folks to be able to have to commute in from other counties. We want those that want to live here, work here, play here to have that opportunity. So making sure that there's a constant stream, a dedicated source of funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is a very important step we need to take as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCurn.
Thank you. Something I'm proud of addressing is that since coming on council in 2019, I've been a part of allocating over $20 million towards affordable housing. And again, it is something that we need to address, that we have a crisis here, that we need to see ways of addressing this concern moving forward. And it's not just putting money into the affordable housing, but it's working with our developers in seeing land that they have and finding the areas that fit appropriately. I do want people, when you retire, I want you to be able to stay in Lexington. If you want to start up a young family, to be able to find a home here in Lexington. And something I've built in a relationship since coming on council is with every one of our developers who own the land here in the second district. And we're making sure that we are finding those areas that are suitable for affordable housing needs, that are walkable, accessible from a bus or public transit, and then have opportunities for employment nearby as well.
Thank you. And you'll be taking this next question first, please. Do you support establishing rental licensing and inspection in Lexington within the next 2 years? Why or why not?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Of course. Do you support establishing rental licensing and inspection in Lexington within the next 2 years? Why or why not?
I do. With your rental licensing, everybody needs to be held accountable for the license that they have. I'm a licensed realtor here in Lexington and in Kentucky. And as my license that I carry is something that I have to have education with, but I also am held to a standard on that license. And I believe that it's the same thing with your rental units, that you have to be held for certain standards in what you're providing to the community. That is not just a slumlord and an area that is just crumbling down, that your tenant that lives in that home is being represented well, and has a reputable place of living as well.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch, same question?
I think that it is very important that we have standardized landlord-tenant, to standardize that landlord-tenant relationship. And I think that having landlord licensing and a standardized inspection checklist will go a long way with that. Well, I worked with many tenants and landlords when I was working at the Lexington Fair Housing Council for 15 years. And quite frankly, of the majority of the landlord-tenant issues that I dealt with had to do with the status of the unit and how there were areas that fell below what our city codes require. Residents were often hesitant to call code enforcement because they were fearful of being evicted from their home. And so I would readily work with them to try to mediate between them and their landlord. So I think that it would go a long way to make tenants feel safer and secure in their home, and also help the landlords out too, is having that expectation of, so at the outset of that landlord-tenant relationship, each party will know what they can expect from that. So I think it will go a long way to better our housing situation in Lexington.
Thank you very much. And we're going to move now to homelessness. And Ms. Lynch, this will be your question first.
Okay.
Based on official counts and anecdotal reports from neighborhoods, homelessness in Lexington is increasing. Beyond our current services, what should be done to reduce homelessness here, and how should it be funded?
I see our homeless population, our unhoused population, I prefer to recognize them as, every day when I'm going into work, and it is increasing here in our city. And it is becoming a problem. And I think that we can make intentional steps by partnering with our nonprofits that are already serving this community and seeking additional funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to address our specific homelessness needs and issues, and talk to our unhoused folks and see what their needs are and do our best to connect them with services, and realize that not all unhoused folks want services or want to be housed. So treating them with dignity and listening to their needs and doing what we can to connect them with services, I think will go a long way in addressing those issues. And seeking additional funding from the federal government is another step that we can take to try to build a better, stronger infrastructure to serve the unhoused population.
Thank you. Mr. McCurn.
Thank you. As homelessness is increasing in our city, and this is something that is a passion of mine to work with and make sure that we are providing opportunities available to everybody in our community. I'm working to see that we have, especially in our frost times right now, that nobody is outside, that they're not left in the cold every night, and that there is a bed provided and available to them, but not just a bed that evening, but making sure that they have the opportunities to move forward and get into a stable housing unit in the future. There are some objections. Sometimes you have a dog, sometimes you have it's a husband and a wife that are together and you can't be together. So it's finding out areas and in providing those resources from the city's perspective and partnering with some of our community members, our nonprofits, to make sure that those are funded well. We have added additional funds. Yesterday, we allocated $300,000 to go towards overnight winter housing for this population. And I want to make sure that all of it is protected moving forward in the future with adequate funding.
Thank you. And we're going to move to the transit system, and you'll be answering this question first, Mr. McCurn.
Yes, ma'am.
What should Lexington Fayette County do to improve the transit system, and how would you find funding to support those improvements?
Again, I don't think 60 seconds is going to be enough, because this is something that from day one coming in office has been a passion to work with. I have the privilege of having a great relationship with LexTran and having frequent communication and providing additional bus stops or new bus routes. Something that we hear as a growing concern, though, is that people hop on the bus, have to come down to the transit center just to get back into the same district. And that is something I feel is that could be addressed and changed, that you can hop on the bus, stay inside your district, and be able to connect on to another one. Seeing more public transit in our community is a growing desire for me that I wish to see, and I hear that quite often. We have one of the busiest corridors of Newtown Pike, which sees about 70,000 vehicles every single day. So getting away from driving in our vehicles and maybe a park and ride, maybe seeing something for the longevity of our city, providing more bike lanes, and the e-scooters that we have in Lexington. Seeing those available resources to our community is crucial.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch?
I think first, speaking with those that ride the public transportation the most would be a great first step to ask about how we could improve that. I also see that we could definitely increase some better shelters for those bus stops, because there are many bus stops that don't have any kind of covering, and no one wants to stand out in the rain and the cold uncovered. I would love to see the city provide, and our transit system work with LexTran to provide more bus stop coverings so that folks can wait for their transportation in a more sheltered way. I love that there are many artistic pieces on some of our bus stops, and I think we can also encourage that as well. And then making sure that there are plenty of stops coming into neighborhoods so that folks can have an easy commute to work or to school, however they're using our public transportation. So talking to the community and meeting needs would be best. Thank
you. And again, we're switching gears. Ms. Lynch, what are your priorities for green initiatives for Lexington?
We have a beautiful green district in the 2nd district. We have parks and access to those. And I want to make sure that all my neighbors have access to those parks, making sure that they can easily leave their front doorstep and get safely to the park of their choosing with them and their family. I think is very important. I want to work to continue to preserve these green spaces because they're very important for not only physical health, but mental health as well. Being able to look outside of your window and see beautiful grass, lawn, and having close by spaces for your kids to play is very important. So I'll work with the city to make sure that our parks and our green spaces are well maintained, and that we are educating all of our neighbors about how we can best take care of our parks and green spaces and how they are best utilized by all.
Thank you. Mr. McCurn.
Again, I think this is something that's not going to be more than 60 seconds. I agree that bettering our parks is something that I've come into office and I've advocated for. I've been pushing to increase not just our utilization of our parks more for our families and friends, but the accessibility. My opponent just spoke about providing that walkable and opportunity of connecting to them. I've done so. I provided those paths. I've connected the paths from a trail system into our playgrounds, into our parks, provided new trail opportunities for our neighbors to get out, and then the finger ones that go off of the main major trail systems and then into the neighborhoods, so neighbors don't have to take a hike or ride a car to get to the entrance to the trails. Something that I'm looking forward to doing right now, and something I've been working on for the past several years, is how we have our landfill system. And it's making it more environmentally friendly. Instead of putting waste into a landfill and having gases emitted from it, look at turning that into mulch and being able to provide that out into the community for something that's healthy. Something that we've just passed recently is providing solar panels to affordable housing units. And I'm looking forward to that project coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll be taking this next question first, please. Meaningful public participation is vital to a responsive local government. What are 3 innovative approaches that you would advocate to make government processes more accessible, equitable, and transparent?
Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to get down 3 different things here. Something that in transparency is very key to me. Since coming in office, again, I've wanted to break down those barriers and provide as many resources to our community as possible and make sure that all of our community knows not just that I'm there for them, but who I am as well. I go to every one of our neighborhood association meetings. I interact with the community, and it's not just in campaign season that I do so. It's outside of it that I'm there. I am in the neighborhoods, I'm volunteering my time and making sure that they understand that they have my cell phone number. My cell phone number is provided on my newsletter that goes out weekly. So that's number 2, is providing all of those opportunities that we have in our city through a newsletter. I have a weekly e-newsletter that goes out that is very open with all the programs that we have, any businesses that are coming to the area, what I've been working on and where I've been. And then also inside of City Hall, through the pandemic, we open up these Zoom meetings, and seeing that we are interactive with our Zoom meetings and not just in-person requirements.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch, same question?
I agree with this question that civic engagement is very, very important, and making that accessible to everyone is just as important. I think one key thing that we have of benefit here in Lexington is the organization Civic Lex. They've done a phenomenal job at making getting engaged with your local government very easy. They've made recommendations about how we can continue to do that, and I'm a supporter of making sure that we continue to take steps to make city government and accessing city government easy for folks. And that may also involve, varying the times of certain meetings. So we know that, many different folks work different shifts, have different work hours, and we want to make sure that everyone can engage at some point and at some level to be able to engage with their city government and know what's going on and be able to participate in the decisions that are being made for them and for their families. So making sure that meetings are held at various times, making sure they are streamed so that someone can access it easily from their phone or smartphone is another way we can keep folks engaged. And then again, just communicating what's going on with my neighbors.
Thank you so much. Our time for questions has gone really quickly, and thank both of you all so much for sharing this information with us. But it is time for us to turn to closing remarks. The candidates drew a second time for the order of closing remarks, and each will have 60 seconds. And again, the randomized order that was selected at that time is for Mr. McCurn to go first. So Mr. McCurn, your closing remarks, please.
Thank you. And again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters of Lexington, to all of our viewers, for partaking in this forum tonight and for this opportunity. I'm Josh McCurn, and again, for the past 4 years, I've had the honor and the privilege of serving as a 2nd District Council member. And I ask for your vote on November 8th to move forward with increasing our economic development that we've been working on in this district, growing those grocery stores and those resources that we do have coming online that we have proudly announced, because of 4 years in relationship building that has been key, that the neighbors know that I'm there in your neighborhoods, and I'm embedded, and I listen to what you ask for. And I am that voice of reason that comes back to the council table. Something I'm proud of is continuing my community investment and working on each one of our parks and volunteering every single week. I know my neighbors, and I ask them again for their vote on November 8th, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Lynch, your closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you to the League for this opportunity and this forum. I really appreciate the invitation. I was so excited to be able to participate. I want to say to my constituents in the 2nd District, I ask for your vote on November the 8th. When you vote for me, you will be accepting my invitation to partner with me so that we can get the work done in the 2nd District, so that we all can thrive in all of our neighborhoods and in our communities here in the 2nd District. I want to serve you all and be your advocate and meet the needs that you see that are existing in our district, and work together to resolve those. So I'm ready to partner with you. I have a chair waiting for you at the decision-making table so we can work together and make the decisions that are needed for our district to thrive. I want to invite everyone to engage with my campaign by visiting my website, shaylaforlex.com. I'm always looking for volunteers and your support, and I would appreciate again your vote on November the 8th. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'd like to thank both of you all for participating. We really appreciate it. It's so wonderful, again, for you to make yourselves available for the voters to learn more about you. If you're interested in League membership or would like to see the other forums, please check out our website at lwvlexington.com. Be sure to make a plan to vote. We have 3 days in Kentucky for early voting, November 3rd through 5th, which is the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday prior to Election Day, November 8th. And in Lexington, early voting will be at the Senior Center from 8:30 to 4:30. Look for additional information from the candidates on vote411.org. And thank you all so much for joining us.